Hey, if you're looking to start a hardware and software as a service business model, and maybe you're just looking to start and do some internal planning, or you're trying to raise your next round of investment, and you need a set of financial projections, then you have come to the right place because we have built a financial projection template built specifically for hardware and software as a service business models. And so what I'm going to do here is just walk you through how to fill out the template for your business and really show you the end result. So we're going to start kind of with the end in mind and show you what you get as you finish. But before I do that, my name is Adam Hooksum. I'm the co-founder of ProjectionHub, and over the last decade, we've helped thousands of entrepreneurs create financial projections, primarily for investors and lenders. And in this video, I've linked to this particular template in the description of the video below. So you can go grab this template and follow along that way. Let's go ahead and dive in. So the first thing I want to show you is really the end. At the end of this whole process, we're going to have a at a glance tab where we get to see our profit and loss at a glance. We get to see various tables, charts, break-even graphs, startup, use of funds, graph, and table. And then I'm really going to draw your attention to the summary data. So this has a lot of your KPIs. So how many hardware units did you sell? Total number of orders, hardware revenue, average revenue per unit, average order value. And then we get into the software side, average software subscribers, software revenue, and average monthly revenue per subscriber. We can see our annual churn rate, the relationship length with the customer in years on average, and the customer lifetime value, as well as employees and revenue per employee. So some of the key data that your investors are going to want to look at and you're going to want to be tracking as well. And so in addition to this at a glance tab, you are going to get a 5-year projected income statement, cash flow statement, 5-year projected balance sheet, and then you get all of those financial statements in monthly format as well for each of the 5 years, so income, cash flow, and balance sheet. So that's what we get at the end of this process, but let me show you how we get there by filling out this template. So I filled this out with some kind of default data, but first thing you need to know, any cell that's highlighted in blue, you can go through and change yourself without breaking anything in the file. So you put in your company name, you can put in, let's say we're raising a seed round for $500,000, and we have a trademark, and we have some employee computers, some equipment. If you have other equipment, you can, or plan to project to have other equipment, maybe even manufacturing equipment. If you are manufacturing the hardware yourself, you would want to put that in here. Maybe you also got a small business loan as well. In addition to the equity. So you can put that in here. We're jumping over to our input revenue tab. This is where a lot of the work happens. So we're going to say that our revenue projections don't actually start until month 4. So let's say we raise the $500,000. It takes us a little while to actually get to be able to sell. And so it's going to take us 4 months to generate revenue. We have some ad spend, and then a cost per click gives us a number of paid website visitors along with organic visitors as well. So now we have our total number of website visitors. We have a conversion rate. So what percentage of website visitors purchase the hardware. So that's what we're kind of looking at here. So we say, okay, we've got 28 hardware orders. And maybe we have some other hardware orders that are not from the website. Maybe you have outside sales team, or people are just reaching out to you organically, not through the site. So you have the ability to put in those other hardware orders here as well. So we've got our total new hardware orders. We also have the ability to upgrade. So we assume there may be an upgrade cycle for your hardware every once in a while that customers will, so you could, as an example here, we say 20% of customers will upgrade hardware after 24 months. So you can put those in there. The next thing we're going to do is put in what is the average order quantity. So you might be selling, let's say you're selling a piece of hardware to track semi-truck fleets, and you also have a software component, but the customer needs to purchase the actual hardware as well. And maybe you're selling to small trucking companies, and maybe they have on average, they order 1.3 units. So, maybe you're selling to companies with 1 truck to 5 trucks, and on average you're selling 1.3 units in hardware. And so now we can see our total number of products sold. Now here, we have the ability to get pretty complex with this. So if you have lots of different hardware products or different versions, you can actually enter in those different product versions, what month those different versions are going to launch or become available. And then even if you assume that some of those versions will, you might start with this particular version, but it has an end date. So maybe you have a hardware unit that you did a Kickstarter for, and maybe it's a smartwatch, and you're going to sell a certain number of units, but you're going to have a version 2 following that pretty quickly. And so you just assume, okay, here's that first run, but after month 11, that rolls off. We're not going to sell that product anymore. So you have the ability to put in that assumption. You can put the price per unit, your cost of goods sold for that unit. And then here you can put in a relative popularity. And so what this is going to do is add up all the numbers you put in here, and then assign the relative percentage. So let's say all of these, these all add up to, let me just make this 2. Okay, so if I do that, all of these add up to 15. So 5 out of 15, we'd be saying this is 33% of our sales, essentially, is the relative popularity of product number 1. So that's kind of how we're getting to that. And we have this annual price increase ability, as well as cost of goods sold increase as well. Okay, once you enter on all those assumptions, you're going to have your hardware sales projected. And now we jump into the subscriber side of things, software revenue. So we're saying what percentage of hardware clients will also subscribe? Well, maybe the hardware is useless without the subscription. So if that's the case, then it might be 100% subscribe. What percentage of website visitors who purchase software only? Again, let's say maybe no one would do that, because your software is unique to your hardware. That's probably the case. So this may end up being 0, but we put in 1% as an example. Now, what percentage of those subscribers are going to churn? So this is an annual churn rate that you'd want to put in based on your own assumptions. So we're saying a 30% annual churn rate. And you can have different subscription levels. Again, you can have the launch month, because these subscription levels could be tied to particular products potentially, right? You might have different subscriptions for different products. But if you have one subscription level, you could just enter that as well. You've got your monthly subscription fee and relative popularity. All right, and that would allow you to project your software revenue. So we've got down here our total hardware and our total software revenue. So we're going to jump over to our other expenses, and you'll see just some general administrative expenses that we have entered in here. One thing I want to draw your attention to is this transaction fee line. We have the ability to enter in expenses as a percentage of revenue. So here, you can also do it as a fixed dollar amount. So most of these are fixed dollar amounts, but we put in 0.03%. This is 3%, or 0.03 of total revenue goes towards transaction fees. So by putting this in here, we're assuming, people are paying that subscription, or even for the hardware on the website, perhaps through Stripe, and Stripe is charging around 3%. that's where you're going to get that 3% transaction fee. Some other expenses. So this is really like our software development or platform development, some search engine optimization, and maybe marketing firm as well. And we can put in our individual salary positions as well. CEO, CTO, developer, lead developer. Maybe we hire a marketing lead. So we had back here, we had this marketing firm expense, and you'll notice that it ends after year 1. So maybe we outsource marketing for the first year. But then here in month 13, we hired our marketing lead and as an employee. So you can pick the month that these different positions start. And you can pick the number of each type of employee as well. So that really brings us back to where we started. And if you have any questions or you need specific customizations for your unique model, we do have a CPA on staff who built this template and can also help you customize the model to work exactly for you. Also, please feel free to ask questions down in the YouTube comments below, and we'll get back to you that way, or you can reach out directly to us at support@projectionhub.com. All right, I think that's all for this. If you have any questions, again, reach out to us today. All right, thanks.